Hello everyone, you are on the Top Facts channel. And today you will see 14 popular photos that turned out to be skillful fakes. Violet Forest in Scotland. Photographing purple trees by the river on Isle of Skye in Scotland is so impressive that some people decide to see them live. And all of them, having arrived here, are cruelly disappointed, and local residents only chuckle at stupid tourists. The fact is that someone played in Photoshop, painting the forest in lilac. In fact, the original photograph was taken by the Shotover River in New Zealand, and then processed in Photoshop. Star and Crescent Island. Molokini are two naturally formed islands in the form of a star and a crescent. They are located between the Hawaiian islands of Maui and Kahului. This image is known with this description. Of the truth here, only the island of Molokini, like a crescent. And the star was finished in the photo editor. 1 drop of seawater increased by 25 times. This photo has been popular for several years with just such a signature. And many of us are surprised how much plankton appears to be in 1 drop of seawater. But in fact, the caption to the photo is misleading. Indeed, in order to collect such an amount of zooplankton, it took a huge network to filter the amount of water that could fill the swimming pool. After filtration, all these organisms fit into a regular glass. Thus, such a large amount of plankton is contained in tens of tons of water, and not in 1 drop. And by the way, in the photo above we see only a piece of petri dish. Girl-sitting frog. Of course, the photo on the left turned out to be funny and many believed in it and marveled at the girl's skill. But the real photo is on the right. Iceberg underwater. This famous photograph, which many put as the desktop background, is a composition of 4 separate images. As the author of this picture, Ralph Clevenger himself admitted, the clouds were photographed in Santa Barbara in California, the upper part of the iceberg was shot in Antarctica, the lower part in Alaska. Moreover, it was an ordinary iceberg, a photograph of which Ralph turned over and placed in his collage underwater. And thanks to the correct clarification of the lower part in the photo editor, the iceberg turned out to be so spectacular. But now we know the truth. Shark swimming on a highway in Houston during a flood. This awesome photo began to spread on social networks right after the Hurricane Irma, which hit Florida in September 2017. But in fact, this is a skillful gluing of 2 photos. Here is the original with a shark. It's funny that a photo with a shark on the freeway pops up in social networks for every natural disaster starting in 2011. Recall, then the Hurricane Irene caused massive flooding in New York and the eastern United States. 4-year-old boy protects his little sister after the earthquake in Nepal. This photo became famous after the earthquake that occurred on April 25, 2015 in Nepal. It was then that on social networks numerous photographs of the consequences of the tragedy were presented, including this picture. It really shows how the boy consoles his scared sister. But this photo was not taken in Nepal, but in Vietnam back in 2007 by photographer Nguyen Nguyen. As he told BBC News, in one of the Vietnamese villages he met 2 children who played while their parents worked. The girl began to cry, frightened by the stranger, and the boy hugged her to comfort her. It's funny that at first this photo became viral among Vietnamese Facebook users who signed it as abandoned orphans. The photograph was then used to illustrate the Burmese orphans, and these children were also presented as victims of the Syrian civil war. The photographer even had to tweet where he actually took this picture. That's what happens when lightning strikes the sand. A photograph with such a signature sometimes flashes on the internet. The truth is that when lightning strikes the sand, it can form fulgurites, which are also known as petrified lightning. They are formed only in the sand, but not on the surface. The photo above captures a piece of driftwood with wet sand superimposed on top. This is one of the work of the guy with the nickname Sandcastle Matt, uploading a photo with the results of his unusual hobby on Flickr. The cow is warming on the hood of the car. This picture of a cow lying on the hood of a BMW began to flicker in the network in early 2013. At first, the image did not attract much attention. But on November 18 the same year, the Surrey Road Police Department issued a signed picture tweeted, "Remember that in cold days attracts animals warm car, so check the wheel arches or other shelter." This post launched the image into the viral stratosphere, and since then this picture has been published thousands of times on social networks and on different sites. In fact, the cow is photographed, otherwise the front of the car would have sat down from gravity. The author of this photobomb is unknown, but Surrey Road Police definitely played an important role in popularizing this image. Monster Cat. This photo began to be distributed on the internet in early 2000. The signature said that the cat Sneshik weighs 40 kg, and his mother lived near the nuclear power plant. In fact, the cat's name is Popragunchik and he is of the most ordinary size. Its owner Cordell Haugley decided to make a joke by enlarging the cat in a photo editor, and then showed the picture to friends. It was unlikely that he then understood that this photo after a while would become one of the most popular on the network. The screen painting in Theresa May's office. In September 2016, a photograph appeared on the internet, showing the Prime Minister of Great Britain, Theresa May, and 27 cabinet members. This photo became viral due to Edward Munch's scream hanging behind people. But the picture turned out to be a fake, while in this photo it is clear that a completely different picture hangs in the office. A carefully carved cabinet that looks like a buggy photograph. This photo flashes on the internet since March 2013. Many sites report that it is a carefully cut cabinet, not a digitally distorted photograph. This is actually a computer concept for oak furniture, created by furniture designer Ferruccio Laviani. However, the end product, which was shown at a furniture exhibition in 2013 in Italy, was the cabinet, which you will see in the photo below. Thus, the first picture shows a digital layout, not a real cabinet. Reverse side of Jupiter. A rather interesting story is connected with this photo. Many doubt its authenticity and are sure that this is Photoshop. This picture is used as evidence. Seeing this hemisphere, it is really easy to doubt the authenticity of the image of the largest planet in the solar system. Only the whole truth is that the first photograph is real, received from the Cassini space probe. At the end of 2000, heading towards Saturn, the probe managed to photograph the south pole of Jupiter. This photo can be found on the NASA website. But the proof is just a fake. A picture with Jupiter was placed on a cut ball. Who still does not believe? Here is the video how this colored ball is cut, and the pattern on the cut there is completely different. That's all. Subscribe to the channel and leave comments.